last Tuesday I was home, and there was a knock on the door, and I opened it, and they said, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I said, well, come on in and sit down. What can I do for you? He said, I don't know, I never got this far before. Jim wanted me to make a little announcement here. I don't know how many of you know Carl Webb. He's 111 years old today, and he said that when, no, wait a minute. Oh no, he's ill. He broke into my house last night and started searching for money. I woke up and saw him and started searching with him. Neither one of us found anything. And the lady was found guilty in court for stealing a can of peaches from the supermarket. And the judge said, how many peaches are in a can? She said 6. He said, okay, 6 days in jail. Husband stood up and said, she also stole a can of peas. And the nightclub was filled with people. They were dancing and singing and having a good time. Suddenly a puff of smoke and a flash of light, and the devil appears on the stage. And everyone ran from the nightclub except one person. He just sat there. The devil looked at him and said, you're not afraid of me, are you? He said, no, I married your sister. I had a physical last Tuesday. Doctor said that I can do anything I want, but it better be this week. You know, it's like the stagecoach driver. He pulls into Tucson, and he sees a friend Herb. He says, you got the job yet, Herb? He said, not yet, Curly. You want to ride shotgun? What do I have to do? There's nothing to see an outlaw, you shoot him. He said, I can handle it. He's off aboard. They're out there about an hour and a half. He says, Curly, up on the hill, outlaw. How big is he? About that big. Want me to shoot him? He says, not yet. They go another hour. How big is he now? About that big. Want me to shoot him? No, we go another hour and a half. How big is he now? He's this big. He said, shoot him. Shoot him. He said, I can't. I've known him since he was that. You know, there was a psychologist, and he said, your life is determined not by what life brings to you, but by the attitude that you bring to life. And I think he's right. And it's tough to keep a good attitude all the time. I try, but you know, sometimes a balanced life is. My computer broke down. A kid next door, 10 years old, came over and fixed it. And I said, what was the problem? He said, it was an ID10T problem. I said, what's that? He said, write it out. It spells idiot. And I loaned a friend of mine $8,000. And he got a facelift. Now, I don't know where he is or what he looks like. I had a fender bender. The guy smashed into my car and broke the headlight. And I go to his car and I said, are you drinking? He said, are you blind? I once I invested in a baseball team in Bakersfield. They call themselves opossums. They're great at home, but they get killed on the road. And yesterday afternoon, about noon, knock on the door. I said, who is it? She said, the maid. Can I clean up? I said, sure. She came in, took a shower, and left. You got to work this thing out. You got to work at life. I have to learn. I learned that you never marry a beautiful woman. She'll leave you broken-hearted. Marry an ugly woman. If she leaves you, who cares? And if you're ever attacked by a group of clowns, go for the juggler. And the archaeology department at UCLA found a new pyramid, and they were inside, dusting off the mummy. And he looks down and the lips are moving. He got real close. Mummy said, "Is Larry King still alive?" And I found out what Jesus said at the Last Supper. Everyone has to be on this side of the table if they want to be in the picture. You know, there was a lady reading a book, and her husband's fishing, docks the boat, takes a nap. She said to go out on the lake and read, and she went out on the lake, and the game marshal came up and said, "This is a restricted fishing area." She said, "I'm not fishing, I'm reading a book." He said, "Yeah, but you have all the equipment, and you can start at any time." He said, "I accuse you of sexual harassment." "Didn't touch you." "I know, but you have all the equipment and you can start it." And the couple had a big fight, and she went on a cruise by herself, met the captain, had dinner in his quarters. After dinner, he pointed to the bedroom. She said, "No, I'm married." He said, "It's either that or the ship will sink and everyone will be lost." So she got home, the husband said, "How'd the cruise go?" She said, "You won't believe this, but I saved 4,228 lives. Twice." You know, there's a saying, when you try to think life out and keep a balance to it, you have to put in some effort. And he said that a man who thinks is a light and a power. And the flame that he flickers will light other torches. And Richard Pryor said, "You can learn all the words to a routine, but it takes 10 years to learn the timing of a joke." And Albert Einstein said, "You go to school not to learn facts. You go to school to learn how to think." Anyway, this duck walked into a bar. He said, "I'd like a strawberry milkshake." He said, "We don't serve strawberry milkshakes here." Next night, same bar. "I would like to buy a strawberry milkshake." He said, "I told you last night we don't sell strawberry milkshakes here. You come in here again and I'll nail your little web feet to the counter." Next night he went in, "Got any nails?" "No." "Give me a strawberry milkshake." And the couple were at the LA Fair, and they look over, they're older couple. He looks over and says, "Helicopter ride, $50. He said, "Bert, Martha, I sure would like to go up in their helicopter." "Bert, $50, that's $50. The pilot overheard him and said, "If you don't make any noise at all, the ride is free." Says, "Come on, Martha, let's go." They got in and they had to fool around, and they landed, and the pilot walked over to him and said, "I got to compliment you. You did not say one word." He said, "I know that. I was going to say something when Martha fell out." $50 is $50. You know who had a great mind and a great criminal mind is Sherlock Holmes. And he and Dr. Watson were out camping. And he said, "What is it, Holmes? How long have we been out here camping, Watson?" 3 days now." "Yes. Look up, my dear fellow, and tell me what you see." "Stars, millions of stars." What does that mean to you, Watson?" "It means tomorrow will be a fine day." "What does it mean to you, Holmes?" "It means that somebody has stolen our tent." And the little boy said, "Daddy, how was I born?" I said, "One day you'll find out, Johnny. I met your mother at a chat room on Yano. I made a date to meet her in the Cyber Cafe. We found a secluded room. She had her soft drive. She agreed to download on my hard drive. When I got ready to upload, I realized that neither one of us had built a firewall. 10 minutes later, sign popped up and says, "You've got mail." And the little girl rushes into the bedroom. Mommy, the house is on fire, the house is on fire. She says, shh, you'll wake your father. There are so many things that we think about. You know, there's a couple that I know that argue all the time. And I think it's a shame. Because you'll find out that a woman always has the last word in an argument. And if the man says anything else, it's the beginning of a new argument. I told a lady friend I want supper when I get home. I want you to bring my slippers later on. I want to take a shower. Guess who's going to dry me off and comb my hair? She said, the funeral director. And the guy had a checkup by the doctor, and the next day he's walking down the street with a young blonde on his arm. Sees his doctor. He said, I'm doing like you told me, Doc. I got a hot mama and I'm cheerful. No, I said, you had a heart murmur. And here's a joke I told in Chicago. The three bears aren't living together any longer. They had an argument, separated, and the judge is talking to Baby Bear and said, you will live with your mother. He said, no, my mother beats me. Then you live with your father. No, my father beats me worse. You have a relative that will take you in? She said, I have an aunt in Chicago. Does she beat you? No, the Chicago Bears don't beat anybody. And you know, the great comedians, the one on the wall and highs, and the Groucho Marx, he showed me a picture, I was on the Groucho Marx show. And they all had great timing. And Bob Hope, I did a couple of shows with him. He used to time a joke with his eyes. He'd tell a joke and stare at you, you know. God, you know, my wife booked me in a Catholic charity. I know it was Catholic. I drove the car up outside and they raffled it off. And I still play golf, and I get excited about the girls that are wearing leather. God. You get right next to them and they smell like a new golf bag. I ran into my friend Charlie and I said, how's it going? He said, Sunday's his 50th wedding anniversary, 50 years. God, I said, what are you going to do? He said, I don't know. On my 25th, I took my wife to Anchorage. Maybe I'll go and pick her up. And you know, Rodney Dangerfield, he had Twitcher. He used to time by Twitcher. Get no respect at all. My wife said, take me to dinner, someplace I'd never been. I took her to the kitchen. I came home late last night, and she met me with a see-through negligee. Problem was, she was just coming home too. Coming up the driveway and the guy pulled a knife on me. I know he was an amateur, the butter was still on me. And Henny Youngman had the violin, remember? I walked in the doctor's office, said I broke my arm in 4 places. Doctor said, don't go to those places. I walked in the doctor's office, said my back hurts. He said, take off all your clothes, stand in front of that window and stick out your tongue. He said, my back hurts. I said, I know, but I hate my neighbor. I walked in the doctor's office and said, something's wrong with my bladder. I can't control myself. What should I do? And the doctor said, get off of my rug. And Groucho, Steve showed me a picture of Groucho and myself this summer. And he used to time with a cigar. You know, I get fits of depression. I was so depressed yesterday, I said to my wife, I think I'll go out and buy a gun and shoot myself. She said, why don't you rent one? I was in the library and I said to the librarian, there are no books on suicide. She said, yeah, they don't seem to return them. Everyone, I think, kind of had a search out which is the best balance in their life, the things they enjoy, the things they don't enjoy. Bertrand Russell said, the best life is a life where your creative impulses are the biggest part and your possession impulses are the smallest. And a good life is inspired by love and guided by knowledge. I think that's kind of nice. And I tell you, J.P. Presley said, I'm always delighted at the prospect of a new day. One new try, one fresh start. And perhaps there's a bit of magic waiting somewhere for me behind the morning. I think that's lovely. I got just behind the morning. Anyway, the snail crawled in front of the golf ball. But the guy was putting and he picked the snail up and threw him way over in a tall grass. And 2 months later, he's reading the paper at home. Knock at the door, he opens it, the snail. The snail comes and said, what the hell was that all about? And that's what you're all going to say to yourselves after I finish tonight. What the hell? Someone asked me if I was ever born in England. And I said, no, I visited England. And I visited Scotland, I've never lived there. I was in Ulverston, Sam's hometown, and there's a plaque on their apartment that says Sam Laurel was born here. And I went to the museum, I had fun. But British intelligence calls O'Toole in the office. So Mr. O'Toole, we want you to go to Dublin, Ireland, look up a man named Murphy. How will I know this Murphy? You will say the sun rises early in the morning. He will say it usually does. That's your man. So I went into a pub and Dublin, is there Murphy in the house? In far corner. Thank you. Mr. Murphy, can I buy you a drink? Good, 2 here. Are there other Murphys in town? Well, there's Murphy the street cleaner, Murphy the judge, Murphy the lawyer, Murphy the superintendent, Murphy the cab driver. He didn't mention himself. Maybe this is my man. The sun rises early in the morning. Oh, you want Murphy the spy. The truth is, I was born in Seattle, Washington. And my father was Scottish, my mother was Irish, which means I've always had a desperate need for a drink. I just couldn't bring myself to pay for it. He taught me, Mrs. Delaney knocked on the door. Tear in her eye. She said, you're having problems. He said, my husband passed away. I said, oh. Did he have a last request? He said, yes. He said, Kathleen, put down that gun. And they had a home invasion, and a couple came over and caught the guy. And the guy said, now you see my face, I'm going to have to hurt you. What's your name? She said, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, that's my mother's name. I can't hurt you. What's your name? Fred. But everyone calls me Elizabeth. My dad taught me golf early in life, and I still play. I don't play, I go to putting green. The same group every Tuesday. It's an older group. You have to have a PSA of 5 or more just to get into the group. The guy is driving on the freeway. Gets a call from his wife on the cell phone. I heard there's a car going the wrong way on the freeway. Be careful. He said, not just one. There are hundreds of them. Jimmy Stewart loved golf. He said, you know, I love the outdoors, and I kind of love the grass and all the trees. And you know, I'm using a new high-tech golf ball now. If it gets within 6 inches of the cup, it automatically jumps in a hole. But don't carry it in your back pocket. And the guy, a friend of mine, playing golf tournament in Mallorca, I said, you've got to be excited. He said, I don't speak Spanish. He said, if you speak English very, very slowly, it becomes Spanish. So he went into a pub, he said, bartender, I would like a martini. He said, 1 martini coming up. Where are you from? He said, I'm from Ireland. He said, so am I. Then why are we speaking Spanish? They were interviewing Jack Nicklaus, and he said, your name will always be synonymous with golf, and you really knew your way around the golf course. What's the secret? And he said, the holes are numbered. That scientists have found a way to slow down the speed of light. They take a beam of light and aim it through a post office. And you know what irritates me? All the excuses that women have for not wanting sex. I'm tired, I'm washing my hair, I have a headache, I'm your sister-in-law. The lady got on the bus with a little baby. And the bus driver looked over and said, that's the ugliest looking kid I've ever seen in my life. And she went to the back of the bus and the tears are falling. The gentleman said, what happened? She said, the bus driver insulted me. He said, report it. Do you have his number? She said, no. He said, you go and get his number and I'll hold your monkey. My grandfather called me once and he said, you know, when I was a small boy, son, my mother sent me to the corner store with $1. And I came back with 4 bags of potatoes, 3 quarts of milk, a pound of cheese, a dozen eggs. Couldn't do that today. Too many security cameras. I was talking to my girlfriend, and I said, I may not have all the money in the world, honey, like Bill Gates, and I may not be able to buy you cars and jewelry and houses like Bill Gates, but I love you. And she said, that's fine. But tell me a little more about this Bill Gates. Later that afternoon, I said, I hurt my little pinky. She said, that's all right, I had a headache anyway. And see, there's no romance left anymore. And I talked to my friend, Carl, and I said, how's it going? He said, I think I'm going to get a divorce. I said, why? He said, my wife hasn't spoken to me in 2 months. I said, well, think it over carefully. Those kind of women are hard to find. I thought we were doing pretty good. And she said, well, I forgot her birthday, forgot to get her a present. And she got mad and said, tomorrow morning when I look out in the driveway, I want to see something that goes from 0 to 200 in 2 seconds. Next morning she looked out there. It was a bathroom scale. No romance. No passion left anymore. The couple were in bed looking at television. She feels a hand on her thigh and it goes up her shoulder and around her back and down her back and it stops. She said, why'd you stop? He said, I found the remote. All we need is a new Frank Sinatra to come along. When you arrive, you know, he was a wonderful town. And he was a womanizer, he loved women. He said, when you arouse the need in me, my heart says yes, indeed in me. Proceed with what you're leading me to. Boy, the women come in the dressing room and just throw themselves at it. And he'd look at those long legs and that bust and he would, what the hell was I talking about? Oh yeah, I remember, right at the mall. These 2 guys bumped into each other. He said, I'm sorry I didn't see you. I lost my wife in the crowd. I was looking for my wife. I said, I lost my wife too. He said, really? What'd your wife look like? She's very pretty. Dark eyes, long dark hair, little turned up nose, kind of a sexy smile. What'd your wife look like? I said, to hell with her, let's both look for you. And I was in the Bank of America yesterday, and I said to the cashier, would you check my balance? And she pushed me. But that was yesterday. I live every day, one day at a time. This derby, of all the things I've done, this is the most passionate thing I have. Because Chuck McCann and I played him for a long time. And I used to visit Stan at his apartment, Oceana Apartments out in Santa Monica. And one day I asked him, how did you happen to use the derbies? And he said it just seemed like the thing to do at the time. We're partners for 22 years, and we made 106 pictures together. We had a lot of fun. Hey Stan, excuse me, what is it, Ollie? Did you ever finish that puzzle I sent you? Oh, I sure did. It only took me 2 months. 2. Well, isn't that a long time? Well, on the box it says 4 to 6 years. If you weren't my friend, I would walk right out of here. Ollie, what is it? Thanks for being my friend. And you know, you count your life in smiles, not tears. And you count your age in friends and not years. And you don't stop playing because you get old. You get old because you stop playing. And that's where you're going to all play a lot more tonight. I thank you very much.
Gee, Ollie, this windshield's so messy, I can't see. We need new wiper blades.
I know that.
Ollie, without new Amco wipers, we could have been hit by that piano.
Piano? Oh!